Hello, CQ, CQ, CQ. Calling CQ the old friend's net. CQ, CQ. This is WA4LLR, Dave in Burnsville, North Carolina. Calling CQ the old friend's net. This net meets 3 times weekly, Tuesday mornings 9 a.m., Thursday mornings 9 a.m., Sunday afternoons at 4 p.m. on this frequency. And the net's conducted in the amplitude modulation mode, carried out in the roundtable format. Net's an excellent place to obtain information, look for parts and pieces, maybe sell a radio or find one, and just a good time of fellowship, focusing mainly on vintage equipment, but any station that can produce an AM signal is welcome to participate. So CQ, the old friend's net. I will stand by for check-ins. Come now.
N4LQ. WB4ARK.
KZ4 Bravo.
KN4R.
K4 JAL.
W4MEC.
All right, let me tell you what I have so far. Had one double that John won. I've got N4LQ, WB4ARK, KZ4B. Someone else checked in with John right before Brian, KN4R. And K4JAL and W4MEC. Who else checked in just before KN4R?
Toyota Farm.
And to you. Alrighty. So here's the list I've got thus far. N4LQ, WB4ARK, KZ4B, K4GDN, WF2U, KN4R, K4JAL, W4MEC. Who else do we have? All right, I guess that's it this morning. One more time quickly with suffixes: LQ, ARK, 4B, GDN, 2U, 4R, JAL, and MEC. Alrighty, well, good morning to everybody. We've got about 33 degrees up here on the east part of Yancey County. And my name is Dave, of course. I'm just east of Burnsville, North Carolina, and running the BC 610C and receiving on the HQ 150. So we'll go ahead and start around the list. N4LQ, WA4LLR.
WA4LLR, N4LQ. Well, good morning, everybody. This is Steve in Shelby, North Carolina, and I'm running a Johnson. Well, we'll have to decide what this thing is. It's a, it was a Valiant, but I modified it, and now the audio section is an LMAC. So it is either an L Johnson or a multi-Valiant or something. Help me give it a name. Hope it sounds okay. That's what I was trying to do, was make it sound like an LMAC. Anyway, over to Buddy, WB4ARK and 4LQ.
N4LQ, WB4ARK. All right, Steve. Well, I'll let you decide on the name. Sounds like you've got a real device there that deserves a good name. Yeah, the weather here is crisp and no clouds. Very nice morning. We haven't had any rain in quite a few days. Hope we're getting over this COVID business. And we'll probably do a test today or tomorrow. I was almost negative a couple of days ago, but it's still hanging on. So over to John, KZ4B, WB4ARK.
Okay, WB4ARK in the group KZ4 Bravo, fine business. We are back on, well, let me give you the rundown. Handles John, QTH is the Mooresville side of Lake Norman, about 2 miles from exit 33 of I-77 North. The rig here is a T150 Knight, driving a Ameritron AL1500 amplifier, which in turn is feeding an
you are 30 overnight, Steve 20 overnight, Buddy 20 overnight, John 15 overnight, and George, you are peaking up to 10 overnight. Nice signal. Well, I'm running the OTL Max station. The transmitter is the AM67, receiving on the PMR7 receiver, and the antenna is the 80-meter end-fed halfway. It's 45 degrees right now. It will be probably 50 today. Nice and sunny. Not a cloud in the sky. Completely cabin. And as they say in aviation. So, with that, it goes to Brian, KN4R. This is WF2U.
Very good, WF2U, Tuesday Old Friends, Brian, KN4R, Cheryl's Ford, where it's also a beautiful day today, a little breezy. I'm on the Globe Champ 350, if you can't tell from the hum, and listening on the venerable black HRO. So just looking through the shack here, trying to find some things to take to Orlando to hopefully sell and to free up some of the space around here. So anyway, over to you, Jimmy, K4JAL in the group. Tell us about that email you sent out last night and that radio you're working on. This is KN4R.
KN4R, K4JAL. Good morning, Brian. Hadn't talked to you in a long time. Good to hear you. You sounding good. I'm on the 7300 today, or 7610 it is, into the RM Italy amplifier, doing about 60 watts, into an end-fed antenna. I can't get up and get over to the other shack where my good old vacuum tube stuff is. I'm too lazy. Yeah, I've been working on a little SD transceiver from 4-state QRP group. It's been quite a challenge just to put the hardware together, but I've got it configured now.
Okay, Jimmy, K4JAL in the group W4MEC. Somebody tell me if something happened to my receiver, if he got really low. Let's see. The antenna looks good. All right. Good morning, and it's about 30 degrees here on one thermometer, and clear skies, beautiful day out. My microphone has got the flops here. It's having to hold on to the head of the darn thing. It's something inside the case has come loose, and it won't stay on the stand without turning south. So anyway, let's see, we're running the heat kit station, RX1 and TX1 to a dipole. My receiver quit Sunday on the 73 route, and didn't get around to figuring out what it was till yesterday. I was out here, I turned it on, and same problem. And it has a upper sideband, lower sideband switch, and I went into upper sideband and it worked just fine. I said, uh-oh. So I looked at the schematic to see what was going on. It's got a 12 AT7 oscillator with 2 different crystals. And I said, uh-oh, that's bad. I probably lost a crystal. But pulled the tube and said, well, maybe it's the tube. I took it out to the tube checker, and the tube checker, the Hickok checker has got a light bulb in it that indicates filament current. And when I put the tube in there and turned it on, the filament, I got a little glow on the light bulb saying the filament was good. Well, apparently that was the last gasp of the filament because the tube did not light. And I got a new one and checked it and looked good and put it in the receiver and everything's hunky-dory, so no bad crystal. So interesting on the RX1, where on the second oscillator, it's got the upper sideband and lower sideband as a oscillator, not the second oscillator, the second mixer, that's what it is. It's got the one of two crystal inputs, and what it does is it shifts the signal coming from the first IF either to the left or the right in the second IF, so you get carrier in one sideband only. So basically, I'm listening to everybody on only one sideband on this RX1. So interesting technology back in the 50s. Anyway, so here we go. I'm tail end Charlie, so we'll go back to WA4LLR in the group, W4MEC.
All right, Charlie, fine business. Jimmy, you might want to check the RM and the Italy. It may have gone back to Italy on you. Let's check. Do we have any late check-ins coming out? Well, somebody was keying. Was there someone trying to check in? I'll take that as a no. Okay, good enough. Well, let's see here. Steve, you might want to call that a Valmac. And if you're streaming this, go back, play it, and listen to the audio. I mean, it's good audio, but to me, it's not quite as good as it was before you did the mod. Now, that's just me. Let's see. I'm trying to think how to describe it. I mean, it's fine, but I think, well, anyway, just, like you said, it's hard to hear your own audio, but watch the video of it if you're recording it, and it's I don't think it's LMAC audio, but that's just one person's opinion. Okay, let's see here. Buddy, I'm sorry the COVID is hard to shake, but hang in there. I know you'll accomplish it. John, I honestly believe that T150 has got some of the smoothest, most pleasant audio I've ever heard coming out of your station. It sounds wonderful to me. George, the Drake 4B is doing a good job for you, and Mir, the F67 is fine. Brian, the Globe's humming right along. Good and loud. And I hope you have a good trip to Orlando. I know Cliff left out this morning heading down there. So I hope you guys have great weather and good sales and just find all kinds of precious treasures to bring back and tell us all about. And Jimmy, check the amp, because you really went down instantly. And Charlie, the TX1's always loud and strong, and congratulations on fixing the RX1. Glad you got that going. Yeah, it's funny. My HRO 50 decided to die on me. I checked every tube in it in my military tube tester. Every tube checked good, and I was pulling my hair out, and carried it up to Hammerl and Don, and he went through it and laid his finger on top of one of the tubes in there, and I don't know, I guess it was just the magic touch. That happened to be the flaky one. He replaced it, and it's fine now. So that was strange. It was kind of like your Hickok. I mean, it showed the filament good, but it was the last gasp, and I can't explain why mine did that, but that was the same kind of situation. Alrighty, well, let's see. We've had a little bit of solar activity. Last night about 10:30, we had an M4 flare that produced a radio blackout over Australia and Eastern Europe.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Over. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Bad conditions, but they're saying this sunspot that released that M class has got a pretty good chance of an X class maybe today. So it'll be interesting to watch and see what's happening. On this day in history, on this day in 1950.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4.
This day 1950, Natalie Cole. If you're into all kinds of music, 1945 was Bob Marley. 1977, Zsa Zsa Gabor. 1912, the wife of Hitler, Eva Braun. And 1911, Ronald Reagan was born. On this day in 2018, SpaceX's Falcon Heavy rocket had its first test flight, and it was carrying Elon's red Tesla car. And let's see if there's anything else interesting going on. Not a whole lot. Well, 1895, Babe Ruth was born, and that's enough on this day. So we'll go ahead back down to N4LQ, WA4LLR.
All right, WA4LLR, N4LQ. Well, my Valmac? Yeah, the Valmac. It doesn't know what to think about that audio report. It's got this big frowny face on it, but I'm not sure what that means. But anyway, it sounds good from what I can hear, but I've got a lot of RF floating around the shack, getting into the power lines, causing lots of hum. And speaking of hum, Brian, I'm listening to you on the Drake 2B, and you don't have a bit of hum. Of course, it's got a 4-inch speaker, but it sounds clean on that. But if I listen to you on the SDR, it rocks the room, baby. So but that's the cure for it. Anyway, T150 sounds good, John, and I've got one sitting here waiting for new capacitors and probably several other things that Mir donated to the cause, and it's got some interesting wiring in it for sure, so I'm going to have to really work on it to make it play. But that's a project for a little bit later on. And John, KZ4B, you said you were long-winded, and I thought, no, not John, there's no way. So I found that hard to believe. Anyway, and Jimmy, you did go QRP, I'm sure. I mean, I think you're one noodle short of a plate of spaghetti on that Italian amplifier. So over to Buddy, WB4ARK, N4LQ.
N4LQ, WB4ARK. Okay, Steve. Very good transmission that time. Got my output up a little bit there with the trans match. Let's see, I hope they took Elon took the batteries out of that Tesla before they launched it. We don't need those things out there in space. I wonder where that thing is now. Is it headed toward deep space, or is it just in an orbit around the Earth in some way? I don't remember. Well, not much going on here. Just checking out a few pieces of equipment and some meters, test equipment, checking the meters for calibration and etc. We got Linda's got COVID also, so we got a tight household right now. Nobody coming or going. And Jimmy, you sure did lose your signal. He went down into the hiss. I could tell you were talking, but it was without the headphones. I would not have been able to determine what you were saying. I guess we'll just send it over to Brian. John. Excuse me. Brian. Good to hear you today. So, KZ4B, WB4, ARK.
Okay, WB4ARK in the group. This is KZ4 Bravo. Fine business, buddy. Great copy as always. And Steve, the multi-valiant, the audio sounds good, but it doesn't quite have the, I call it punch, that the multi-LMAC or especially a screen grid modulated rig has. So that's my comment. Good audio quality, but just not as punchy. And one thing, this T150 has a tremendous amount of carrier shift, which is really easy on this AL1500 amplifier. I'm a very long-winded person, but you may have noticed, and it really works out quite well. Steve has convinced me that screen grid modulation with an amplifier is a good approach if you can't do high-level plate modulation on a robust rig. Shifting gears, I bought a MFJ frequency counter, and that is a neat little thing. I have been going through all kinds of frequency counters trying to get something that's easy to operate and is sensitive enough that you don't have to wrap the sample signal cord around the antenna, and that is this little MFJ. It's only got 3 buttons, so it's a little bit aggravating to set up, but once you got it set up, it's a piece of cake. And it has backlighting that pulls down the 3 little nickel metal hydride battery. You only need to turn it on for a second. And let me turn that down. I'm getting a little bit of talk back here off my receiver. It's really neat. It's $159. It used to be in the catalog $129, but as frequency counters go, that's a very reasonable price, and it has 10 digits, and it seems to be spot on. And I'm sure it's Chinese because it's tiny as it can be. It's got to be surface mount, and it's the size of half a pack of cigarettes, but half of that, I'd say 2/3 of that are the batteries. So it's unbelievably tiny, which means, of course, if it has a problem, it's a throwaway. So shifting gears again, there is some QS Baker on the band today. It isn't giving anybody trouble but George and Jimmy, and you guys are coming in good on the when the signal is up. And the battery charger from my next door neighbor's house that charges his lithium-ion batteries for the solar system has come on. So that's not helping any. When the sun comes out, things go to tease here. It doesn't bother sideband, but it's hell on AM. So, George, over to you. K4GDN and the group, KZ4B, over.
Okay, KZ4B in the group is K4GDN. And Steve, the audio, I think, doesn't sound bad, but I'm getting a little QSB, so I can't tell a whole lot of difference between that and the LMAC. And like I mentioned earlier, I'm running the Drake 4Bs this morning. However, I am going into an L4B linear that I recently acquired. And I made a few minor changes to it so far. One was I added a couple of negative temperature metal oxide varistors in the primary the filament circuit. As I received it, my line voltage is high, and I'm running it off 240. The unloaded filament voltage was like 5.9 volts. That's way too much for the 3-500. So I put the metal oxide varistors in the primary circuit, and now with the filaments on, the tubes in, it's running about 5.1, which I can tolerate. I also added a string of 6 1N5408 diodes forward biased in the grid circuit to cut down on the idle plate current and dissipation. And what I ended up with was in the CW mode, the plate current went down from 180 to 100 milliamps, and in the sideband mode went down from 240 to 180. So that makes the idle dissipation go down quite a bit. And I'm running in the sideband mode. They recommend using that. Even if you're running 100% type modulated AM, they say load the thing to 500 watts input and go from there. It looks like I'm kicking up 200 or 300 watts on the bird meter and the meter that's in the L4B, but I suspect the peaks are much higher than that since these aren't peak reading meters. One thing I would like to do, another modification I'd like to make is a soft start, and I'm looking for a delay relay which would run off 115 volts AC delay and have contacts capable of handling 10 amps at 240 volts. I need it to be normally open. It just needs to be single pole, single probe. So if anybody's got one of them they'd be willing to part with, how about let me know. So with that, let's see. Looks like I passed it on to Beer. So coming to you there, Beer. WF2U in the group, K4GDN.
Roger, K4GDN and the group WF2U. Very good copy everybody. John, you the signal was holding up very nicely. George, there was a lot of good. And overnight of peace, we went down to about 6. And I didn't give reports yet to Brian for 5 and 8. Jimmy disappeared from 5 and 6 to nothing. And Charlie was 5 maybe overnight or so. And Steve, your audio was like previously. It does not sound valiant like the valiant used to sound, and it doesn't sound like the LMAC. It has some kind of a roughness around the edges, and probably it's not overmodulated. See that? You can monitor your spectrum of your signal. Definitely doesn't sound as good as it usually sounds. I'm still using the D104 microphone here, and the carrier out of the AF67 is about 30 watts. Going to about on the MFJ peak reading meter, which is not accurate by any means, but I see peaks of about 50 watts with audio peaks. And so, let's see. So go ahead, Brian. It's your turn, KN4R, and have fun with the weightlifting for preparing them for the Orlando Hempfest. This is WFU.
To you and the two old friends, Brian, KN4R, and keep listening on that 2B, Steve. That's the way to do it. And I like, any way you can solve a problem is a good thing. But by the way, the multi-valiant, I think the audio sounds fine here. The problem is your signal's so strong over here, it's hard to tell. But it sounds, I think it sounds very good. So way to go. You've probably got the only multi-valiant in the world, Steve. And listen, buddy, so sorry about the COVID. And but it sounds like you're making good use of your time. Mir, you're absolutely right. I've got radios up here that are going to go that I cannot pick up anymore. Especially got a German KWEA, if you know what that is, and it's got two handles on it for a reason. So Brown's supposed to be here mid-afternoon, and we're going to pack up and head out tomorrow morning about 0200 or 0300 or something. So, and I will definitely send you guys lots of pictures. So I'm going to go ahead and say 73s and continue on here. I've enjoyed it. Everybody have a great week. And if anybody's looking for anything in particular, send me a link, send me an email, and I will keep my eyes open this week for it. So over to you, Jimmy. K4, and I love those little REM Italy amplifiers, Jimmy. K4JAL in the group. This is KN4R. 73s.
KN4R, K4JAL. Well, I'm down here on the REM went back to Italy. If I get a little bit of swirl on this thing, it wouldn't hurt itself, it shuts off. So there you go. Hope I'm getting out some. I'm seeing about some swirl, so there we go. I'll pass it on. K4JAL. I'm going to say 73 and listen.
Okay, Jimmy, K4JAL in the group. W4MEC, real good. Good round that time. Things at Orlando. I know Boone, WA4UK, was somewhat interested in finding a Clegg 4. I think that's the top of the line VHF rig. And I think the power supply modulator is a separate unit. So you might, if you run across one of those, Brian, he might be interested in it. But I definitely don't need anything else. I need to sell some stuff. Hopefully we'll do that at Asheville, Waynesville rather. And I tried to sell some gear here, and I had 3 different people run it, and one of them changed his mind. The second one made up this story about meeting me up at the gas station in Campobello there, and at the exit on 26. And I was there and waited about 30 minutes, and he never showed up. And when he said he tried to text me, my phone doesn't do text. I said, why didn't you call me? So anyway, I think it was a red herring. And then the third guy that wanted it changed his mind too, so I couldn't give it away. So I'll take it up to Waynesville there. Nothing special, just some old hybrid rigs. So see. And got on a project yesterday where the water went out at my daughter's place down in Mill Spring, and turned out to be a bad pressure switch, the contact. So I didn't have anything but a nail file on my penknife, my Swiss penknife. I burnished the contacts with it and got it going, but I got to go down here after the net here today and pick up a new switch and go down here and put it in. So fun time at the pump place in Mill Springs. Anyway, she has such a steep drive, it's very difficult to walk up. You can go up it in a four-wheel drive like a Jeep, but it's very steep. It's I want to calculate the angle, but it's steep enough that there's places almost where you can be standing straight up and just lean forward and stick your hands out and stop yourself from falling over. It's pretty bad. Anyway, so take care of that this morning, and my wife and I are going down to Columbus to the Waffle House down there. It's about the only one around here that's any good. We got 3 of them in Hendersonville. They all stink. They're absolutely worst, awful, and but Columbus is still a good one. All right, back to you, Dave. WA4LLR in the group, W4MEC.
Okay, Charlie, fine business. W4MEC in the group, WA4LLR. Well, 7-3 to Brian, 7-3 to Jim. Let me take a quick standby. Any late check-ins coming out? Okay, nothing heard. Now, let's see here. Well, I'm glad you had your Swiss Army knife, Charlie. You can do anything with a Swiss Army knife. Glad you got the water going, and good luck replacing that pressure switch. And like you said, I don't need anything else. I need to liquidate, but I've had terrible luck convincing myself to do that. I talk about it, and that's as far as it goes. Anyway, let's see, buddy, you were asking about where Elon's Tesla is now, and I looked it up. It's a somewhat elliptical orbit around the sun. At the moment, it's 65,161,154 miles from Earth, and it's heading towards us. It is, I think this is cute. It's exceeded its 36,000-mile warranty 82,693 times. It's achieved a fuel economy of 23,626 miles per gallon. Oh, and it's completed 3.9 orbits around the sun since it was launched. So it's orbiting the sun in somewhat elliptical orbit, and it's heading back towards Earth. So there you go. The latest information on Starman and his red Tesla convertible. All right, let's do a 73 round, and Mir, you'll turn it to Charlie. N4LQ, WA4LLR.
Okay, this N4LQ, and I'm on the real LMAC with the punchy audio, and hopefully not too rough around the edges, and a few more watts of power. So going through the amplifier. Same microphone though, so it's interesting. I think I agree with the reports there about rough around the edges, and I can't really figure out what that's all about. But I got some ideas I might try on the Valiant. Anyway, yeah, Brian, if you see a beautiful like a HQ 129. Or even a 120 that's pristine, I'd like to take a look at it. That would go good here. The 2B is really terrible on AM. Of course, it's narrow for one thing, but the audio is just not very good on AM. It receives well, and the passband tuning works good, but it just doesn't sound very good. Never heard one that did. and I even had an R4A. I've had the 2A, and they all are pretty crummy sounding on AM, as well as the transmitters don't sound good on AM, as far as I'm concerned, for the most part. But anyway, that T150 of John's, I can see just a little wiggle on the Drake 2B's S meter when he talks, but not as much as you would expect on the screen grid. I think the amplifier or something must help keep that down, but I've got the fast AVC turned on and just saw a little bit of wiggle. And of course the plate modulated rigs don't have any of that characteristic. So, and fine on the MFJ frequency counter. Well, that $159 is to me these days, with all these cheap Chinese things, that seems a little high. But I've got some of these Chinese frequency counter circuit boards, and it works fine. I just have a piece of wire on it and lay it around the transmitter, and it usually picks up enough signal to give me a reading. Okay, well, I guess it's 73 round. Hate to leave. It's been a good morning, but appreciate the reports on the audio. And over to Buddy, WB4ARK, N4LQ.
N4LQ, WB4ARK. Okay, Steve. Well, I turned on the scope, take a look at your signal. I didn't see anything that looked suspicious, and I don't know, this time around the signal sounded pretty good, pretty smooth. Didn't sound like it was before. It didn't sound as rough. I don't know if you made any adjustments, but sounded okay to me with the headphones on. Yeah, it's interesting about the Tesla. I guess that little spaceman sitting in there has had a real trip. That's something else. George, regarding your filament voltage, I read an article in QST, an old QST, I guess back in the 40s, where Ohmite described using a potentiometer to adjust the filament transformer output voltage. And I wonder if you might be interested in that. I'm not sure if you have I'm pretty sure you have a separate filament transformer. And if you do, this would be a nice addition to your transmitter. You can put 2 terminals for monitoring your voltage, and set it for the exact filament voltage, and then check your output voltage, make a note on the chassis so that you could adjust your pot to that level. But once you set it, it's pretty stable after that. And the other thing was let's see, there was another note I wanted to make about you said you needed something else. I was trying to think what it was. I forget what it was now. I thought I made a note here, but oh, soft start. Yes, soft start. I do have a soft start in my 4400, and which is it's a homemade soft start, and it works really good. If you would like a copy of the schematic, I'd be glad to send that to you. So let me know, and I will take care of that. Charlie, with all of the projects you've got going on, I doubt very seriously if you're ever going to get around to firing up that ART-13. You've got so much on your plate, I just don't think you're ever going to get around to it. But time will tell. So with that, over to John, KZ4B, WB4ARK, 73, everybody.
Okay, WB4ARK in the group. This is KZ4 Bravo. Fine business, buddy. Good copy as usual. George, I had two comments. One, I'm at the end of a very, very long power distribution line, so the voltage drop is quite pronounced. So when all the houses around here have a heavy load, the voltage is quite low. But when it's lightly loaded, the voltage soars up to 250 volts or more on the line voltage, which is way too much on the filaments of the amplifiers. And so what I did, at some of the hamfests, you find people that are selling an old computer ferroresonant transformer for regulating the line voltage. I've got a 3 kVA here that I paid very low for because it's very heavy and the guy didn't want to take it home. But a ferroresonant will regulate your line voltage. You know, there's no tubes, no moving parts. It's just a transformer and a capacitor. And it's also great for protecting you from transient line surges, like from lightning and that sort of thing. And the only thing is, you need, if you ever run an emergency generator, if the frequency gets off hardly at all, it'll screw with it and go kaplooey. Won't damage it, but the voltage regulation goes crazy. So if you got a gasoline generator, I use an inverter generator where the frequency's crystal controlled, so I don't have that problem. But a ferroresonant, I really like those. There's just nothing to go wrong. And so that's that. Shifting gears, you don't need the complexity of a time delay relay for a soft start. All you need is a regular 115 volt relay with a normally open contact that closes when the relay gets enough voltage to pull in. And you put the relay on the load side of a dropping resistor. And the ohmic rating of the dropping resistor determines your delay. So if you need more delay, you have more ohms in the resistor. If you need less delay, less ohms. And since it's on for a very short period of time, it probably doesn't need to be but 10 or 20 watts. And that's all MFJ uses on their soft start, and you know, they charge an arm and a leg for it. It doesn't take much. So shifting gears again, Dave, thanks for the compliments on the audio. And thanks for calling the net. So I'm going to say 73's on this one. I'll listen to the end. But this is it for me. Brian, be safe going to the Hamfest, and anybody else going. I think he's not in here, but Cliff is going, and should be a fun time for all. So everybody have a great week. KZ4B clear over to George, K4GDN. Over, if you're still there.
Okay, KZ4B in the group, K4GDN. Yeah, I really appreciate that information about the relay. I hadn't thought about doing that. I have soft starts in pretty much all of my linears, and they're home brews, basically just resistors and time delay relays. But the suggestion that John had, I'm definitely going to give that a trial. I use a 25 ohm resistor in series, about a 25 watt one in series with a line to the primary transformer. That's how I get my soft start, and it works particularly well. And as far as the filament voltage is concerned, the filament transformer in the L4B is separate from the high voltage, and it's a split primary, so it can run either 110 or 240. But I put two negative temperature coefficient MOVs in there, and it brings the voltage down, and it's stable even with the line voltage varying. Percentage-wise, it doesn't change that much, and it keeps it down when it's high, and if the filament voltage drops a little bit, it goes low. That's not going to hurt anything, really. And I've, like I say, I've put soft starts on all of my amplifiers, and I just used electromechanical relays. But John's suggestion, really, I'm going to have to give that a twirl and see how that works. What I was asking about was anybody had a delay relay, 115 volt AC delay relay. But I'm going to have to get John's trial, see how that goes. And appreciate all the comments on the amplifier. Like I say, I'm kicking up probably 300 or 400 watts on the peaks from the L4B. And it's a nicely built amplifier. I like the fact that it's got a lot of room and the power supply is separate. And this is a very late 4B linear. It was made in the late 70s, so was the power supply. And the guy I bought it from had already done a upgrade on the power supply, so I've got plenty of room in there to put anything I need to as far as the soft start's concerned. So I'm going to say 73 on this round, but I'm going to listen to the very end. So Barrett's coming to you. WF2U in the group, K4GDN, 73 guys.
GDN. George, you dipped a little bit to, I guess, 6 with QSB for a while, but it was still solid copy, and now you're back to almost 9. Anyway, let me see. Okay, turn it over to Joe. Right, okay, I just was looking in my notes, what I had there for rotation from here on. So 73, thanks Dave for running the net, and everybody who made the net by getting on today. It was a nice net. Conditions were really pretty good, and too bad Jimmy's obviously amplifier or something just went south, and he disappeared. So 73 all have a good day and a good rest of the week. Most likely I will be here Thursday morning, but I'll just carry on with that. Anyway, 73 all take care. And Charlie, you concern, and good that you found the problem with your Mohawk. I have a Mohawk that was working and it's been resting for several years, but I have all the parts just in case any of the caps are getting too leaky or whatever, so just in case, it's about time for me to bring it up again. So 73 all have a good day. W4MEC, WFTU.
Okay, I'm here, WF2U and W4MEC, real good. Let's see, Steve, I was thinking about your rig name there, and since it's a Johnson and a multi-LMAC, you could put those together and call it a Johnny Mac. So, anyway, and I've been experimenting with AC voltage reduction and reading up about using inductors and 2 different ways to do it, and in order to control a small AC motor, but probably would not work with the current of the finals in the Drake amplifier. So, meaning that the inductor probably be too big to fit if you can get it in there. But for the little 20-volt AC motors that I've been playing with here, the inductor is handleable. Is that right? Okay. And yeah, I'm getting closer to that R13 there, buddy. I actually have it set up and ready to go, and I haven't run I need to put it on dummy load and see how it sounds on the dynamotor. I might have to drop back in and punt here if it doesn't work with the dynamotor well, and we'll see what happens here. Pretty soon. Yeah, heard that before, haven't you? 7-3, I'll look for her on Thursday morning. W4LLR in the group, W4 Easy.
Okay, fine business, gentlemen. It's been a good net this morning. I certainly appreciate everyone participating. Those of you traveling south, God bless you and have a safe trip. And hope everybody has a great day. So 7-3, God bless, and Lord willing, we will look for you on Thursday morning. This is Dave, WA4LLR in Burnsville, North Carolina, closing this session of the Old Friends Net. 7-3.